All right, we're in the city outskirts tournament. We're in Wednesday's qualifying round in the Ricky division. So I played my main account yesterday, and it was I played it as a practice round, and then I was trying to get a hold of Dinner today, but can't get a hold of him. So I will just play it so I get a couple accounts in, and I actually have some notes. I went through and watched my video so that I had some notes because there's some of these holes that I'm right there. I'm in the right spot, but I got to make sure I got my numbers going for the second shot. So looking at the holes, we've got two holes. Hole number 1, and I think it's hole number 5 that we have to get. We have to get them. And I wasn't doing the math. I wasn't thinking, but if we've got 9 par 4s, the minimum score is 9. And then we've got 2 that we have to pick up, so that puts us at 11. And the top of my bracket was a 14, and this is going to go up as the week goes on. So we're going to have to pick up those 2, and that leaves us 7 holes, and we really want to pick up 3 or 4 of those. So we should be shooting for a 15. So that means we've got to get 6 of the 9. We got to get it. So let's see what we can get done. Hole number 1. All right, I'm just glancing. Okay. Of the par 4s that are out there, where we have a shot at hole in 1. This is one of the holes. But this is a dangerous hole. And if you get on the green, but you're not right here around the pin, you could have a very tough putt, especially if you're out here on the edge or you just dribble on. So and this is one of those greens that you can slide. You did everything exactly the same that you did last time. But this time it slid, and you can go in the drink. And so I'm just going to be shooting for right here in front and take the chip on. Because I do believe that of these par 4s, and this one is one that we have to get. Like, the goal here is eagle. Would we like to get a hole-in-one on a par 4? Absolutely. But our goal on this hole is eagle, and we have to get the eagle on this hole. And I think just consistency-wise, I'm just going to lay it up and go for the eagle. Because I do believe that this hole right here, while we have to get an eagle, this hole is going to eat a bunch of people's lunches. Like, if we go through and look at holes that people failed on, this is going to be a hole that people fail on just because we have this OB situation. And not all of these holes have that. And this is one of those holes. So I'm just going to go to just lay it up there. Now, I'm not so sure. And I demoed it yesterday. Like, my red line with a 3 power ball is like up in this area, somewhere up in here. So you got bounce number 1, maybe a little bit farther forward, but you're in this zone right here. And it's one of those deals where if you pull it back just a little bit, your ball guide will flatten out. And if you push it forward, you think, okay, hey, I want to be a little bit farther forward, and you push it forward, well, the ball guide flattens out, and then all of a sudden it's digging in, and because you're in a hole down here on your first bounce. It might not be a bad idea on this hole to bring out a bigger ball so that you can get up towards the front or up by the shadow where the ground's a little bit flatter, so that your second bounce in this area you could get a little more consistent. What we don't want to find ourselves doing here is coming out here with a 3 power ball and ending up with a headwind where we have to put on some overpower. This is not a shot. If we're trying to do a second bounce rough bump, we do not want to have to be taking that with overpower. So it might not be a bad idea to come out here with a bigger power ball so that we can be more consistent. We could pull back a little bit from the red line in our shot setup, give ourselves some room to work out headwind, and try and find a spot out here where the ball guide's not doing that, where you pull it back a little bit and all of a sudden the ball guide flattens out and you push it forward, and now you've got this big arc, and maybe make it a little more consistent. Maybe. In this account, I don't have a lot of ball inventory, so let's see what my options are. Let's sort them by power. I do have some 444s. I could take a 444 out there. I'm going to take a 444 just to see what it looks like, because I know that's probably, I know you can come, I know that you can come out here with a low power ball and you can do a max overpower shot, or you can do overpower and do it. But I'm telling you right now that we've had tailwind up to this point. But if we get that round that has headwind, and you've set your shot up to do it with Katana or Quasar with overpower, you're going to be, it's way too inconsistent. And this green is treacherous. I'm going to try it with a 4-power ball. I'm going to try it. Why not? Take my number 1 bag. And here we go. Here we go. Getting out on the course. Playing some golf clash. But of course. Hopefully everybody's having a good week. Good week. There's a lot of cool holes on this course. There's a lot of holes that you can put yourself in. There's a couple holes here. I'm still trying to figure out where I really want to place myself and how I want to come at it. But most of them, I know exactly what I'm doing. And even on those holes, I know exactly what I'm doing, but I have no idea where I'm going to end up because I am taking a big swing at it. You could be more consistent by putting it in the spot that everybody else is putting it in, but I'm having a little fun on a couple of the holes. Now let's see where my opponent, and you can see you can get way up in there. Now you're a little more consistent. Now you could actually, like from that spot, you could actually make a pretty good run at it. And I don't think they changed their top spin at all. So there's 0 top spin. 0 spin. And let's see what kind of an adjustment they make. Okay, that's 2 rings, that's 4-2. So they added on maybe 5%. Hitting it perfect. El perfecto. And with no spin, look at that. Look at that. Now that might be the way to go. Let's try that. Let's match my opponent and let's try that. I'm going to pull back. I don't want to pull back. That's max club. Three. Should be about a ring and a half. Let's see if I can get up here tall enough to do it. There's a ring and a half. Hitting it perfect. Peer pressure. Look at that. I devolved the peer pressure. I was just trying to play it safe, and then I decided to go for it. That does work right there. I think I was at like plus 30 was the max. I didn't like the fact that I had to be right at the red line. But what you could do there is you could pull it back a little bit and put a little teeny bit of topspin on it. That wasn't too bad. You could actually make a run at it with that. And it's obviously easier with a tailwind than it is with a, it's going to be with a headwind. With a headwind, we'll have to make an adjustment. See, I talked about one thing and then I let my opponent peer pressure me into the deal. And I started off, like looking at that hole, I started off way up high, and you could tell this hill it's going down, and so starting up high and trying to get it to break down towards the cup. I'll have to go back and watch that and see where I set it up in this area. I know I don't think I had, maybe right out of full bar of right-hand side spin, but I'll have to go look at this area right here where I set it up to try and get consistent, and I may either move the setup area just a little bit to the right, or I could change the top spin. I like being in the center of an area like this because if everything doesn't go your way and you do hit it great to the left or the right, you're still got plenty of fairway, as opposed to like riding along an edge so that you can get a little bit better run at it. Then you leave yourself with 0 room for error. And you got to remember, this hole, there's OB. This is OB. This is OB. We do not want to come to a hole that we need to get an eagle on and end up getting out of bounds on a drive shot. That would be bad. That would be bad. That would be no bueno. All right. I've been in the perfect spot, and I've missed this, and I have a plan. So I'm going to take an extra mile, a kingmaker, And I did look at my, let me go back and look at that hole one more time. So I went back yesterday. Where I've been putting myself is right here. Kind of, let me get a little closer. I've been putting myself in this shadow, and where I'd really like to be is like up in this shadow, a little bit closer. So where I was at was, I was taking it, and I think I was at mid club, but I was kind of like in between. So I think if I got a little teeny bit further forward, I'd be in a better spot in my club. Where I was at from right here, I was at 1-to-1 minus 0.1 is what I looked. I watched both of the videos that I shot on this hole, and I missed them both times. But if I would have did 1-to-1 minus 0.1, I think I would have made it both times. So we will see. I'm just gonna go for this. I'm gonna go for where I've been, because I'm just gonna go for that shadow. I'm just gonna go for where I've been at, and I'm taking a Kingmaker. Now I've been taking it with a Titan, and obviously you can take it with a Titan, but it does help having the little extra spin. Now, one thing that's different in this account, I got to remember, is in this account I'm using a Hornet. In my main account I use a Kingfisher, and I use my Kingfisher. It's got a little bit better ball guide, and it's 95 accurate, and I like how it hits a lot better than. I wish that I never would have upgraded my Hornet to level 9. I would have much rather had it at level 8. If I could go back and I'd actually take the hit and lose the gems or the coins or whatever the hell it is. That I would rather downgrade my. I wish they had a thing here where you could downgrade your club, and I was like, I'd rather play it at level 8. I'm probably the only one out there that wants to downgrade one of their clubs, but I was so good with my Hornet at level 8, and when the numbers changed, you always go, oh man, if it was 100% accurate, it'd be so much better. At 96 accurate, I had so much fun with my Hornet, and now I'm not as happy with it. I'm not happy. But I got to remember in this account that I have a Hornet, so I have to have different numbers I got to remember, since I don't use the app. And there's nothing wrong with the app, and I have the app. I've had the Golf Clash Notebook app since the day it came out. At least the first week. Here we go. Okay, if I remember, it's 5. And a sliver. Give myself a couple rings of separation. 2-1. That's 2-1. And then I'm going to lean just a little bit so I can give myself a little bit more room on that second bounce. Hitting it perfect. And that is where I was trying to shoot earlier in the week, and that's probably about 5 or 6 yards farther than what I've been getting. So we'll see where that puts me in my club. I think what the deal is here, we'll see where I'm at in my club. I'm going to hit it wherever I'm at in my club. I'm going to have to think about how I'm going to play it with the... I know one of the things that I did wrong on the other 2 shots, because it doesn't pop out here very consistent. And one of the things that I noticed on a tournament a year or so ago is on this particular hole, for this rough bump, you want to be 1 ring into the rough. And what I've noticed on my shot yesterday was I was in my normal 2 to 3 rings into the rough, and the ball comes out a little inconsistent. All right, Hornet. There's Max. There's Min. So I'm at about mid club. So mid club's 1.3. I want to be 1 ring into the rough. So 2.6 divided by 1.3 is 2. I'm going to do 1.9. 2. 2. All right, 2. All right, I did 2. I just did 1 to 1. Hitting it perfect. Dead center in the hole and mid club. Excuse me, I said 1 to 1, but I did 1.3 per ring. So I treated it right at mid club, and I didn't do anything extra. I didn't take off anything. I didn't add on anything. I didn't do anything special. Plus 0. But I've been hitting, and I noticed this a couple tournaments ago. It's been, I don't know, 3 or 4 tournaments that we did this hole. I was hitting like my opponent where I was 3 rings into the rough. And it seemed like it took an irregular bounce coming out, and it was inconsistent on the other side. And I had an opponent that shot it, and he was 1 ring into the rough, and it came out beautifully. So the next time I did it, I went in there and was 1 ring into the rough, and my ball came out perfect and went right in the hole. And I started dropping them that week by being 1 ring into the rough. So we want to make sure we're 1 ring into the rough. And I wrote it on my notes and circled that 1 ring into the rough. I'll watch and let's see if my opponent's does it. It just seemed like, ooh, that's in the hole. Nice. Nice shot. Nice shot. That works. Eagle, eagle. Good luck, bro. Here we go. All right, hole number 3. What is hole number 3? I can't remember these holes. Even though I've played them twice already this week, I can't remember. All right. So this is one of the holes that I'm still trying to, I'm still trying to figure out how I want to play it. So you can go out here. This is wood. You can try and hit up into this area, and this is a dangerous shot because you got to do a rough bump. You're basically rough bumping off of this area right here around the sand, and if you don't get it right, you can get caught up in this area. And it's not that you can't recover, but obviously we want to get into the spot in the fairway. If you get up here, this is short iron, and if you just lay it up right here, you're in long iron. So yesterday I left myself quite a bit of distance. I used a katana, a cat, and I did 2 topspin. And where I was at, I was in pretty much mid-club. And so I could hit a little bit farther forward and try and get towards min. But mid-club's not a bad place to be because if you got headwind, you got tailwind, it doesn't really matter what you got going on. You have room to work out the wind. But I think when I went back and watched the video, this is another one of those holes where when I took the rough shot, what was happening was I was like 2 or 3 rings into the rough, and I was in a spot and I ran some topspin out, and all of a sudden the topspin went like way out here, and then I took a little bit off, and then it was way short. And when you get into those areas, that's a bad area. So you either need to move to the left or the right, or you need to move forward. And I think what I need to do here is the same thing I did on the last hole. I need to be closer, like 1 ring away from the rough, and see what, so I'm going to have to work on my ball guide just a little bit here because I want to find a spot where like we can feed it out there, and I don't like it where the ball guides, and the reason it's doing that is because this area here is like this, you're hitting down in this area, and so the ball guide's trying to come up the hill and the ball guide gets confused. And so maybe by being a little bit closer, I can get the ball guide to work it a little bit better for me. So we will see. I'm doing plus 10 on the drive, and I'm doing plus 0 to the cup. But I'm not. Yesterday, I left it short, and it was going right at the cup, but it breaks just a little bit right at the cup. And I left it like a square and a half short, and so I'm not sure. It looked like the ball guy was saying it was going to run through the cup, but it was in that spot where it was jerky. And usually when that happens, it's not good. You're either going to be short or you're going to go way long. So if I can find the right spot, I still haven't been able to take a really good second shot at it. But I'm going to do +0 so that I can at least see what the deal is. Katana. I'm going to take in my number 2 bag. My number 2. Here we go. Now I could get aggressive and go over there and try and get it with my short iron. And if you're going to take that with your short iron, you got to have a short iron that's got some topspin. Because if you come out there with Kingfisher, it's not going to have enough topspin. You need to have a Hornet, or you need something, or Runner or something that has lots of topspin. I'm pretty sure a claw would work. If you have lower developed stuff, once you get your claw, your Saturn up, those clubs are awesome clubs. Unfortunately, a claw is like a level 6 club, a Tour 6 club, so you won't get it developed quite as fast as you do your Saturn, but a Saturn is a great club. All of those common clubs, when they get up in like the quarterback, the sniper, if you went out there with a maxed out blue set, those are great utility clubs. You can get a ton done with them. Ton. Okay, it was 2 topspin. Dose. Where am I at? I'm at the +10 mark. 3-1. So that'd be 3-3. Hitting it perfect. Perfect. I'm leaving a lot on the table there, but that if it's the same as yesterday, I'm at 346. I need to write that number down. 346. 346. And make sure I'm in a consistent area so we can really work on the second shot. My opponent's going for that shot right there, and you can see like right here, even with a 3 power ball and a level 9 extra mile, they're having to do something jiggy with it. They left the wind in, and they're doing overpower. It's super easy to mess that shot up. And they hit it great to the left. At least a solid 2 rings. So they didn't take the wind out, so I think they might be all right as far as getting through. But it's risky to get out there. Now, if you get out there in the right spot and you brought the right second club, you might be good to go. So where am I at? There's Max. There's Min. So, man, I'm eking towards Min. Kind of an in-between. So I'm going to do 1.25. So 2.3 divided by 1.25. Be like 184. I'm going to get a little closer this time. See, that's exactly what it was doing yesterday. It was giving me the what now. I don't like that at all. All right, I'm going to have to just take the shot because I'm going to run out of time. Hitting it perfect. That was like everything that could have possibly. I'm going to have to find a spot there. I'm not happy with whenever the ball guide does that, where you move it just a millimeter, and all of a sudden the ball guide jumps over to the other side, and you're like, well, which do I trust? I can tell you, if you stay in the spot where it looks like it's long, it's going to go long. If you stay, and if you move it back and forth like that, you get that. It's just a janky deal. I think I might need to move myself over to the right. I'm going to go practice that hole. I think I might have to. I'm going to go find a spot on that hole. I don't know how many times it'll take me to practice it, but I'm going to find a spot right there. I may set it up so that I can use both my accounts and try and get in a practice session where I can sit there and I can work on like where's the spot and timeout, and I'll worry about it. But I might need to set it up more to the right and then bring it back around with left-hand side spin. I was kind of hoping yesterday when I watched the video that I was going to be able to just get closer with and leave myself 1 ring, and it wouldn't do that, but no such luck. Because that is a good spot if I can find the right spot to set it up. And I still have no idea what what I should do. It looks like it's going right at it, but who knows today, because I didn't make a good wind adjustment. I eyeballed everything. That right there is what I see a lot of my opponents do, and then you wonder how the hell they ever make a shot. They just put it in the spot and then eyeball, just move it, just jerk it around. Who knows what they're doing. All right, hole number 4. My notes say rock. I've been using, up to this point, a Titan, but I'm going to use a Kingmaker. Now, all right. I still think that with the original pin placement, and we're playing this hole with the original pin placement, that this side over here is not good. The second shot is not worth the effort that you have to do to get out here. I mean, it's not a good shot. I did shoot out here yesterday and I got stuck in the rough, and you can easily recover. I was actually thinking of another hole, the bounce hole, and if you get caught in the rough on that, you are screwed. But once I got out there, and you can easily recover if you got a Nirvana. I did go back as soon as I got done with that, and I practiced this hole. And what I did was I came out here and I started off on this side. I was using a 3-power ball. I started off with my rock, and I didn't have quite enough distance, so I switched to my extra mile so that I can move the red line forward just a little, and then just backspin it, just max backspin, and stuck it right here on the green. And you have a perfect rough bump. But here's the rough, and here's a whole ring. So you have a half a ring. And so if you're dealing with the wind that's blowing in this direction, or a wind that's blowing in this direction, and you make a mistake on your adjustment, you'll be fine. Because you hit to the left or the right, and you hit it to the right and it's just a little off. You hit it to the left, it's a little off. But if you're dealing with a headwind or a tailwind and you make any mistake, you overpull that and make any mistake, you are screwed. And the whole idea here is that we really want to go for it, but the deal is that we cannot, with these par 4s, with all par 4s, we cannot, we can never drop a shot, but we really cannot drop a shot here. So if you're going to take that rough bump, just realize that it is the skinniest, it is a thong. I mean, I think a G-string probably has more material on it than this shot. But if you got the guts to do it, that probably is the best way to pick up a shot on this hole. But I think safety-wise, out here is probably the way to go. So I'm going to go out here. Do I want to go out there? Right now we have a good wind for this shot. But I'm sure in one of the rounds we're going to end up with a pure headwind and a pure tailwind. And in my experience here, especially recently, it seems like headwinds and tailwinds, like pure headwind and tailwind, are seriously affecting your ball. And you just do not have any room. I mean, if you make a mistake here, you're going to hit the fairway and bounce over. If you don't, you're going to end up in the sand. And I'm not sure. Now, you might be able to do a sand bump here. It might be steep enough on that you can do a sand bump. But I'm going to go out here because I think that overall this will be more consistent. And you still got a shot. I've made eagles from over there, but obviously I don't think of this hole as being a big hole-in-one type hole. I'm going to take my number 2 bag. And it does help if you have a ball that has more side spin. And no, a katana is not enough. Because if you do end up in trouble on the drive, and it's easy to scoot on this drive, where you can get that where it doesn't bounce, it scoots forward. And if you get the scoot, you're going to end up in the rough, and then you're going to wish that you brought out a 3-power ball. Hole number 4. And I have no idea what kind of an adjustment to do on the second shot, because I haven't really put myself in the perfect spot yet to work on it. 1.5 topspin. Give myself about 2.5 rings of separation. I'm going to give myself 3 rings of separation. And I'm doing 10, plus 10 on the drive, so I'm going to do 3, 3. And I'm going to lean to the right just a little. Rubbing the nubs, and I hit it to the right. That is not good. Whew, just squeaked it through. That's why you always want to leave yourself set room. I know I've talked to my buddy Dale Appleby about it a lot since we started talking here a few years ago, and like it always cracks me up when people are setting their shots up, and you see it with a lot of people. They set their shot up. If you hit perfect every time, I guess it's not a big deal. But if you don't hit perfect every time and you only left yourself a half a ring of separation on something, it's like they set the shot up and it's like, okay, the only place you can take this shot is if you're a half a ring off. And it's like, really? I couldn't be 2 rings off and just use some spin? Give yourself room. Let's see where my opponent ends up. If it comes in on the left-hand side, it's they are so damn lucky that they hit it 2 rings great to the left. If they'd hit it perfect, it would have ended up in the sand. I'm just going to do a straight up shot, 2-9. Hitting it perfect. Just a bit outside. Ball guy was slightly lying to me, and I needed to take out a little bit of wind. Maybe when I'll go back and watch that video, I needed to add on like 1 more backspin. I needed to leave the ball short of the cup and let it roll out. Now in this situation, you could run on like you could start off on the fringe. You get a really good bounce when you come off of the fringe coming at it. It's not that they've got the wind going with them, so even if they make a bad wind adjustment here, it's not going to really matter. The deal here is if you hit perfect, that's probably going to go in the hole. It is going to break a little bit to the left. But if they hit it perfect and it doesn't go in the hole, I'll be surprised because the wind is absolutely with them. And that was not perfect. I was kind of rooting for him. Hitting it perfect. In the hole. All right. I need to pick up. Okay, we're on a hole. We can pick up something right here. Now, I came out here and I've been trying this with just a 3 power ball, and you'd have to use the overpower if you want to use a 3 power ball. And the whole deal on this hole is you can go for hole in one on this hole. This is a hole that we can go for hole in one. And so I think we have to, you know what Playdemic is, right? Everybody thinks Playdemic makes Golf Clash. No, they're a ball manufacturer. They just own all the courses. They're kind of like NASCAR. They own all the tracks. NASCAR used to own only like half the tracks, and now they own like 3/4 of the track. So, but they produce parts. They produce stuff. Golf Clash, Playdemic produces balls. So they like to sell big balls because it makes some of these holes much easier. And this is one of those holes. We can go for hole in one here without any overpower if we use a big power ball. And I'm going to use a berserker. Now let's think. Power. Let's go power side spin. That would be my choices. A 4-4-4 or a 5-2. I'm going to go for the 5-2. And I'm going to take my extra mile. Hey, that's not what I'm doing. And that's not what I'm doing either. Taking my number 1 bag. Let's open this chest and get that out of there. Or open whatever the hell it is. Whatever. A practice token. Let's play some golf. Now this can be a dangerous hole too. You can blow past it. And this is an old hole, so you can leave yourself in some spots on the greens where it might be you might leave yourself a little bit of a tough. What do we got here? 3, 6, 7 topspin. Three, 4. There's 3-2. All right. Hitting it perfect. Boom. Let's see if that's too much. That's 7 topspin. Needed a little teeny bit. Need to set up a little teeny bit so that it goes more to the right. But we can make a run at this one. What I'd normally like to do on a hole like this, and what I should have did right there, my mistake of the way that I'd normally like to play this hole is normally I'd like to run all of the topspin that you have. Then you can pull back from the red line and find the right spot. And that gives you a little bit of room, so if you've got headwind. So instead of setting the shot up so that you've got that, you can set it up so you got max, and then pull it back, find the right spot for max topspin, and then you've got a little teeny bit of breathing room if you've got a headwind. And laying it up here in front and chipping it up there is not a bad way to go either. It's not a gimme, but either's a long putt. Perfect. All right, this hole and hole number 1, we have to get the eagle. Like, there's no option. Like, the minimum score here is you have to get an eagle on hole number 1. You got to get an eagle on this. We have to think of minimum score as -11 because of those 2 holes. And we're trying to get a -15. So there's 4 other holes we got to pick up something on. I mean, I don't think it's going to guarantee you a win if you can shoot a -15 per side, but you're going to be up there at the top. You got a really good shot of getting a banner. Let's see if my opponent. I'm going to be real quiet for my opponent. Into hole. That's so brutal. Brutal. Good luck in the tournament. Good luck in the tournament there, bro. All right, hole number 6. Hole number 6. What is hole number 6? All right, I'm going for it on this hole. So every single person I've seen so far this week has hit it straight forward and tried to come out here, and only one of the 3 that I've seen do it, 2 of them have ended up in the rough. One was in the rough here, one was in the rough here, and one of them actually was in the fairway. But I believe that this was a long iron shot coming in. And you can lay it up here in one-on-one, or you can lay it up here in one-on-one. And I actually, if you're doing the layup shots coming at it, this isn't a bad area out here because you can do this. You can do a rough bump off this finger, and it's a pretty decent shot. You'll have to make sure that you bring out the right club because you need some topspin to do it. But I'm pretty sure that this is wood from out here. So if we do the arc and we're in this, I think this out here is long iron, and I think this is wood. I'm trying to actually get over into this. And yesterday, the way the wind was blowing, I think the wind was blowing this way. And I took out 1.5 times the wind. So I think the wind was 3, and I took out a lot. But I think I should have taken, and I missed the rough over here. I just barely clipped the fairway and went and ended up on the backside. I made the shot from the backside, but I would rather just clip the rough and roll out. And so I'm going to take out 200% of the wind. If the wind is 3, I'm going to take out 6. Let's make sure we got the right stuff. And I was able to do this yesterday with a 444. Now I think if you had headwind, you'd have to bring out a 5 power ball, but I think with tailwind or sidewind, you could do it with a 444. Let's get that chest rolling. Let's get it rolling. I'm going to win a chest on every hole that we have left. I'm stating that right now. I'm going to just beat everybody out on the course. We're going to get eagles. So if my opponent gets an eagle, more power to him, but I'm going to get an eagle on the next 4 holes. Let's see if we can live up to that. What hole is this? Is this hole number 6? Yeah, it is hole number 6. Hole number 6. You can see I'm right there on the line as far as like where I can get to. Give myself 2.5 rings of separation. 2 rings of separation. 2.7. I'm going to take out. There's almost 5. Hitting it perfect. See if I took out enough where I can actually get the second bounce to hit the rough and then just bleed me forward. There we go. That's still no gimme, but I would much rather take my second shot to go for it there than to have to hit over to the other side and take a long range shot in. And with this kind of wind, you can get that done with a 3 power ball. What's my opponent using? A 4, 5, 5, 2. And you're not going to put any curl on it? What's the deal, dude? At least you hit it great to the left. Ooh, they barely hit that fairway down there. They left all that wind in. If they'd have put curl on it, they would have had a. I think that would have been much mo better. All right, got to hit this perfect. Hitting it perfect. In the hole! The wind was going with me. It might have pushed me off a little bit, but it would have only pushed me off a ball. So if the wind was really a factor from that spot, I would have came in on the right-hand side of the flagpole. And a very similar shot to my opponent yesterday. And this is a shot that if you hit it, now they're from the distance they're at, wind might be a factor, so I might want to hedge my bet and start off on the left-hand edge of the or left-hand side of the cup. And you got to hit it perfect. Hit it perfect, and let's see if it makes it in or if it rolls off the right-hand side. Yeah, they should have offset it. The wind was a factor. The distance they were at and the angle that they were to the wind. So in that situation, the wind was blowing like they were coming out like this and the wind was blowing more against it, so it was going to push it off, where I was down here and the wind was kind of going with me. So here's the flagpole. They started off right at the flagpole, and with the way that the wind was blowing here, pushing them off on this side, I would have started that off in the center. I would have stayed inside the cup, but I would have started off more on the edge here, so that if the wind wasn't a factor, the ball would have dropped in right there on a perfect. But if the wind was a factor, I gave myself room for it to drop in on the other side. So you got to watch the wind direction. So like I didn't really worry too much about the wind because the wind was kind of going with me. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully it does. All right. There's one. Hole number 7. Let's get hole number 7. What is hole number 7? Hole number 7. All right, I like this hole. I like this hole a lot. And I'm taking, I know this is going to sound strange, but I'm taking a Guardian. I've played this hole so many times with the Guardian that I actually like playing it with the Guardian. So I'm going to play with the Guardian. I'm going to set up a bag just for this. Extra mile Guardian. Everything else looks good. The usual suspects down at the bottom. And with a Kingmaker. So I'm doing 3 1/4 topspin on the drive. I'm not trying to get greedy on the drive. And then I'm doing, so my Guardian at this level is 1.1 per ring, and I want to add on 10%. So that's 1.1. So if I do the math and I went, let's say the win was 3, and I did 3 times 1.1 divided by 1.1 ring per ring, then the 1.1s balance each other out. So whatever the wind is, that's the adjustment I'm going to make. That's it. So if the wind's 3.6, I'm going to do 3.6 rings. And I don't really want to get any more distance because then I'm going to start getting towards mid-club. And I think where I'm at, I have enough room to work out if we had a headwind and still be in the spot. If I can find an opponent. And I haven't made an eagle on this hole this week, so, and I like this hole. I've played this hole a ton of times. When the game first came out, if you got lower developed stuff, this hole can be challenging. So it's 3 3/4 topspin. 3 3/4. I'm just trying to just tap it in. There's 3 4. Just hit it perfect. Hitting it perfect. And that's not quite as much distance as I needed. So I might be in a spot up. I brought out a big hitting wood, so I got that going for me, but I think I needed to be a little bit more. That was 317. I need to write those numbers down because this is mission critical. I think I was probably 5 or 6 yards farther ahead. My opponent looked like they were going for the very bottom. And they got the very bottom. That's the thing about hitting down there at the very bottom. I'm trying not to get greedy on this. I'd rather be in a consistent spot that's easy to get to, and I don't take the risk of running it out like that. Okay, where am I at? Now I'm short. You bastard. So where the Guardian is weak on this shot is it doesn't have a lot of topspin. But I should have enough to get me there. Okay, 3.8 rings. There There's 3.8 rings. You hit this perfect. Hitting it perfect. Let's see if we can get in the hole. Just a bit outside. That was a slight overpull. So if I was at 317 there, I'll have to go back and watch the video. I didn't write those numbers down yesterday, but I must have been at like 325. If you go all the way to the end where my opponent was at down there, I was about halfway. I kind of split that difference. And that angle coming in is pretty good. You don't really have to put much side spin on it. You can just put a little bit of top spin and go straight at the cup. If you've got a lower developed Guardian, then it only has, it lives most of its life at 2.25 top spin. And it can be difficult if you leave yourself short with a Guardian. But if you hit way down there and you get the scoot and you're way down at the bottom and the red line is right where the rough bump needs to be, you can backspin it onto the green. So it gives you have 3 different ways that you can play it depending on where you ended up on your drive. If you're using a sniper, you really got to get down in there in order to get deep enough in order to get the rough bump. And the second shot, if you're trying to run out the topspin like I did there where you're bouncing it over, is a little bit easier. Because you got more topspin at your disposal. All right. I didn't get the eagle on that one. I didn't put myself in the right spot. Hole number 8. What is hole number 8? All right, I'm taking a huge swing at this one. This is the one hole that I'm just being totally risky on. And you can recover from anywhere down in here, so it's not like you can't recover. I don't want to hit this damn tree out here, though, I can tell you that. But I've been using an APOC and trying to come out. Now, I have a level 6 APOC in my 77 account, and I have a level 5 APOC here, so I don't have quite as much power and topspin. But trying to get out into this area right here, and you're in short iron range. If you go down to this area right here, you can consistently get here. Just bam, 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 consistently get there, and you got a long iron every time. But I'm playing around a little. I'm having some fun on this hole. Why not? Why not? But need to bring out. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we have here. Well, maybe the topspin is the same. What is different on a level 6? I think the power is the same. Maybe just a titch. I'm not sure exactly what's different on a level 6. But that's what I'm taking. That bag right there, and I'm taking an APOC. Now, yesterday, I brought out... I've got some of those. I had some 0 power or 0 wind, 5 power, 5 side spin balls. And you can't really get on, if you run out all the topspin, you can only get about 3, because you can't, if you got a club that has a lot of topspin, you can't get all the topspin and all of the side spin. So I kind of, but it did give me a little bit of extra side spin. Yeah, we'll just go for it. We'll go for it with a berserker and see what we can get done. Here we go. Here we go. If I can make it to the next area. I was hitting yesterday. I was at freaking minimum kingfisher. Almost in my wedge range. But I did a 1-to-1 shot. I've been in that spot twice, and both times I did a 1-to-1, and I should have taken off 10%. So if I actually can make it to the right spot, I'm going to take off 10% on the second shot. I'm going to leave the wind in. So 4-4. I'm going to push it forward a little. 4. Hit it 1 ring great to the left. As long as I make this first bounce. Yes, barely. And I got stuck in it. Arr. That's where the 3 side spin ball comes in handy. or having more than 2 side spin, because I've been right there in that same zone, but I was able to miss that finger because I had more side spin. And I have noticed on all of the shots that I've made it over there that I hit pretty good, but that first bounce was super close to the rough on all 3 shots. So I took the risk of getting stuck up in this area. Let's see if my opponent can bounce it over that and get up. That might be the way to go right there. Are they going to make it? No, but if they had a 5-power ball, they might have made that. You got that sand in front of you right there, though, so you got to negotiate with that sand. All right, where am I at? Where am I at? I have no fear of this shot. There's half, so I'm in the 8 per ring range. I'll put a titch of backspin. And I'm going to take off 10%, so that's 4.6, so that leaves me like 4.2, 4.1, and it's 8 per ring, so that's a half a ring and a smidget. That's a half a ring and a smidget. That's a technical term. Hitting it perfect. Get in the hole. Get in the hole. Woo! That's what I'm talking about right there. It's that smidget that helped. What's a smidget? You gotta. That's a U.S. technical term. We can't give out those secrets. That's industry jargon right there. And you're probably, for those of you that are using your app, you're like, hey, dude, that was not the pull you should have did. But I will tell you, I've been playing with my rough iron for a long time, and I understand how those rough irons work. Probably the best video I ever shot was I shot a video on rough irons. And I don't know that I explained it. Like, I look back on it now, and I've watched it several times, and it's like some of the stuff I didn't quite... But like thinking differently about how your rough iron and your sand wedge work. There we go. Good luck. Good luck in the tournament. All right, this last hole. I'm going to set my bag up first, and I'll go look at it. Then we'll talk about it. Now, you can't take this with a katana. Yes, you can. And this wind is not... I'm going to take it with an extra mile. All right, let's go look at it. I'm taking... There's a bunch of different ways that you can play this hole. Lots of different ways. You can lay it up out here. And I talked about this yesterday in my video. I'm not sure whether there's any benefit to trying to hit it all the way out to the end or just laying it up right here. Because if you do your arc and in your arc shot, I don't know that you're any deeper into your club up there, and I'm not sure that this angle is any better than just trying to get the run where you have full access to the mouth and just like running it up to it. So I'm not fully convinced that trying to get all of it. I see a lot of people on this shot overshoot it and end up in the rough up here, and the deal is that I think if you just laid it up right here, you've got just as good a shot. And you didn't have to risk getting caught in the rough. And you don't get the roll out here. It doesn't do the scoot. It'll pretty much stop where you want it to. I see a lot of people trying to get on and one trying to get up here in the mouth, and the mass majority of the people, and almost every time, I think maybe once I've actually made it through, but I see a lot of people get stuck in the sand and the rough. I see a lot of people using this island, and if you come to this island and you don't bring the right ball, you're going to have to do overpower, and it can be a little bit off left or right, and your ending spot, or if you don't get the top spin right or the adjustment right, you can end up in the sand. And I see a lot of people fail on this shot as well. What I'm going to do is take a shot from right here. I'm going to leave myself 2 rings of separation, and this tree that's right here, I'm aiming off in this direction, and when I put the side spin on it, I'm going to be aiming like this, and I'm going to put my ball guide right on that tree, and then with an extra mile and max curl, it'll clip the rough right here and bleed out. Now, if I hit a grate to the left, I'm going to miss this rough, and I have no idea where it's going to go. It's going to hit this fairway, and most of the time I end up either in that sand or that sand. And if I hit it great to the right, it usually just gets stuck in the rough. But the cool thing about doing this shot is, number one, you don't have to bring out a big ball, ever. Because you have enough room that if you got headwind, you got tailwind, you've got room to work it out. And so you can try and get the shot over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Consistent. Got the right stuff? I do. I do. The key is you got to hit perfect on the drive. You want to hit perfect on the drive. Obviously, we always want to hit perfect on every shot, but on this particular shot, you do kind of want to hit perfect. It's not like it's the end of the world. You can still make rough and sandwich shots, but ideally, we want to just be right out in front, and this is definitely a hole that we have a killer opportunity to make eagle. Now, yesterday, I did a 1-to-1 with my rapier. I was in like mid-club. I might have been in minimum club. you can see how much room you got from the red line. So if you're back in this area, you got plenty of room. See where that bounce is coming. Okay, so I want to point right at the tree where the tree is deflecting the shot. And take out the wind, 3-4, and I'm just going to take out the wind. There's 3-3, there's a little extra. Max curl. Hitting it perfect. And just bleed it right out there in front. No fuss, no muss. You got plenty of room against the red line. You can work out wind if you got a headwind. And you don't have to bring out a power 5 ball. Now, I do kind of like where my opponent was at. If they did a max overpower shot right there and they curled it around and put backspin on it, you could do a backspin, sidespin, curl shot. I'm just wondering if you put curl on it, whether or not you clip these trees coming through. My opponent is definitely going for the green. Doesn't it seem like they need to be putting some left-hand curl on that? Maybe it's just me. And they made a bad wind adjustment. All right, where are we at in our club? There's max, there's mid. So I'm at mid club, so it's 2.4 per ring. The wind is really kind of going with me, so I'm going to do 2.4 plus 1. Need to hit this perfect. Hitting it perfect. In the hole! That shot will work. I was at mid club. So that's 1.2, 2.4 plus 0.1 plus 1 plus 1. All right. I made that shot yesterday and I did the one ring. I was thinking my rings is 2.4 per ring, and I did that math, and I was right on the edge. I needed to pull it just a little bit more, but it seemed like 10% would have been way too much. So I'll have to do the reverse math and see what that was. There we go. That's how you do a minus 15. All right. What did we pick up? We picked up a few holes. Picked up a couple. Picked up number 2, number 6, and number 9. And 8. There's 2 gimmies. Well, I'm not going to say gimmies. Number 1 and number 5, we have to make those. So picking up those extra shots is big. I don't want to share it. I want to post it to the clan. Check out my scorecard. Let's see if I can actually write on the screen. What in the hell is the deal here? Nice and easy. Nice and easy. All right, there you go. That's a minus 15. We've made a couple of the holes. I went through and I made some notes. So I actually have a few notes on some of the holes. I will go through and watch this video and tighten my notes up a little bit, because there's still a couple holes that I'm messing around with. Hole number 8, I'm being a little risky on hole number 8, but I think like getting up there where I'm in my short iron range is definitely the way. And I'm not afraid of taking that rough shot. And there's one of the other holes that I'm still kind of undecided on how I want to play it. I'm undecided on, I think it's hole number 3. Let's go back and look at that. There's one of these holes that I really want to go back. I'm going to practice that hole several times because I want to see, it is this hole right here. I'm going to go practice this hole. I'm going to burn as many. I may shoot a separate video just on this so that we can see where the hell we need to be here. I do not like taking shots where you're here and your ball guide's going way over here, and then you move it a millimeter and now your ball guide's just going here and the pin's right here. And you move just a little bit and all of a sudden your ball guide's going over here, and you move it another millimeter and now your ball guide's short again. There's got to be a spot out here, and it's either a spot that we need to side spin it up to, or it's we need to be 2 rings, or we need to be in this spot and 2 rings into the rough, so that we can find a spot that's consistent. I think if we have winds that are going this direction where we have to pull over the sand is distorting the ring, so we need to find a spot out there. And that spot may be over here where it's a little fatter, and then trying to bring it around. It might be flatter as it comes up the hill, so we've got a little crotch right here, and it may be a little flatter there, whereas when we go to the right, we're more on this, where we're trying to hit in this area and then bring it up. Whereas if we're hitting over here, it may flatten out. It may be a little flatter on this side. I'll have to check this hole out. I'm going to practice this hole a few times and I want to try and find the best spot to do that rough bump, and some spot where the ball guide's not getting wonky. All right, there you have it. Thanks for watching. That was my qualifying round in the City Outskirts tournament. Have a good week, and I will catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.